This is the close for the prosecution. As my co-counsel informed you earlier, this is a case of facts versus fiction. Good afternoon, members of the jury. Thank you very much for your time and your dedication in hearing this case. We're here today because we're on a quest to find the truth, to determine what really happened on June 14th, 2014. And throughout the course of this trial, you've heard two completely different accounts of what happened that night. You heard a story of facts and a story of fiction. You heard the testimony of the victim in this case, Adriana Testa, and she shed some light on what her relationship with the defendant was really like. She told you that after they moved in together, things got nasty. She told you that the defendant got angry, that he yelled at her, he pushed her around. She told you that he punched her. That's what their relationship was like. That's what Adriana Testa had to deal with on a daily basis. On the night in question, the defendant asked Adriana to help him hang his beloved Elvis poster in their living room. He needed her help to hold the painting against the wall while he marked where the anchors would go to mount this painting. Now, Adriana was not a fan of this painting at all. She thought it was hideous, that it was ugly. But she tried to help anyway. She tried to help anyway because she didn't want things to get nasty again. She was afraid, and her fears were justified. Adriana wasn't strong enough to hold this painting, and she dropped it. She dropped the defendant's painting on the floor, and in a fit of rage, he struck her in the head with a hammer twice for it. She was terrified. She ran out of that trailer screaming for help, running for her life. You heard the 911 call. You heard Jordan Kravitz tell the police that Adriana was running around the trailer park with blood pouring down her back. That's not something that the defense can deny. That is a fact. But the defense wants you to believe that this blood pouring down Adriana's back was the result of her falling repeatedly on her face as she stumbled through the trailer park. Now, it's true. Adriana did stumble through the trailer park, and she did fall. But it's not because she was drunk, like the defense wants you to believe. It's because she was a 5-foot, 90-pound woman who was struck in the head twice by a 6'2", 225-pound man with a hammer. Don't believe the defendant's story that Adriana was lashing out simply because she didn't like this painting. Adriana was seen by an emergency medical technician who assessed her as having multiple head wounds. She was then taken to a doctor, Dr. Shepard, who testified before you. Dr. Shepard, who's an incredibly accoladed doctor, who has more credentials than any doctor I've ever treated with. And his testimony confirms Adriana's story. 2 head wounds, consistent with a hammer blow. Members of the jury, those are the facts. So now let's talk about the fiction. This story that the defense has contrived about how the defendant turned his life around, and he could have never done such a heinous act. The defendant is no angel. He is a 5-time felon. He acts on impulse. He admitted to you that he stole cars just because he wanted to see what it was like to drive around in a cool car. He told you that Adriana and him were the perfect couple, that they never fought, that he would never lay a finger on Adriana. And he wants you to believe that Adriana was drunk and hysterical, and out of the blue just decided to cry wolf because she hated this painting so much and frame him for assault and domestic abuse. Again, this is a story of facts versus fiction. But the truth is that none of us were in Trailer Unit 24 that night. There's no other eyewitness that can confirm either person's story. There's no elevator video that we can sink our teeth into. In this case, we only have circumstantial evidence. But the law treats circumstantial evidence and direct evidence with the exact same weight. As the prosecutor, it's my job to prove to you that the defendant intentionally struck Adriana in the head with a hammer. I have to prove that to you by beyond a reasonable doubt. But beyond a reasonable doubt doesn't mean any doubt. It doesn't mean a possible doubt. Beyond a reasonable doubt means that after you've heard all the evidence presented at this trial, there's some missing link, some missing part of the story that's so compelling to you that you as a juror believe that a conviction would not be the truth of the charged offense. Members of the jury, I submit to you that the facts in this case support the prosecution. When you use your logic, your common sense, and your life experience to digest everything that you've heard throughout the course of this trial, the answer is going to be clear. Adriana Testa is the victim of domestic abuse and assault. When you go through your deliberations, I ask that you check this box and find the defendant guilty of assault in the first degree and domestic violence. Thank you very much.